Hello, hello. My name is Regina Miller, and today I'm going to tell my story of living with the narcissist husband. As a teenager, I got married at a very young age, and today I want to share my story of living with the narcissist husband. I was very young, but I was very wise. You know how they say, you were here before your time, or, you know, sometimes we're older than we actually are through wisdom and knowledge because we're around older people, or we just set up to be wiser than our time. Well, I was in high school and um, I met what I thought was the love of my life. And all along, he had a plan for my life. But the crazy thing about a narcissist, they have plans for your life, but they don't tell you about the plan. And you're in a whole full on relationship with them, but they don't tell you the plan. So, my children's father, the man that I married in high school, when he saw me, when he laid eyes on me, he knew the plan that he had for my life. But I had no clue the plan that he had. Me, I was genuinely, feeling like a girl that was in love. I felt like I was in love and, I was just, young and in love. Finna marry this man in the 10th grade and all I thought it was love. But all for him it was lust and control. He had a plan that he did not share with me. So let's get on with this story. He knew that he was going to marry me. He knew that he would give me a child. And the first plan was he was going to give me a child. He knew once I had a baby by him. Because see, one thing about a narcissist, they watch you. They know how to, make the moves on you. They know what your background is. They know where you come from. They pay attention to you a little bit before they plan of execution on your life. Well, this time he knew I was from a good home. He knew that my dad was a hardworking man. I was from a two-parent home. He was not from a two-parent home. He was the total opposite of me. He lived in the projects. I live in suburbia. Like it's almost like the movie ATL. And so I got pregnant, my firstborn child. But see, what the devil don't know is when the devil is trying to plan his life for you, he don't know that God already blocked you from the devil's plan. Now, sadly, I had to give birth to a daughter with tetralogy of failure heart disease. So therefore, that was the block of his plan from the gate. I didn't know because here I am, like I said, I was in love. Never saw what he saw. So here I am with a small baby. Um, she had tetralogy of failure heart disease. She was sick, and I was a teenager. Um, it's going to be a little difficult telling this story because this is the first time I'm telling this story. But it's something about 2024. It is definitely the truth year, as everyone is saying. It's definitely the truth year. And so I'm going to share my truth. And he knew that his family was going to move to Raleigh, North Carolina. And he knew the time frame that his family was going to move to North Carolina. And that's why he was like moving fast with me. I got to get her pregnant. I got to plan this. I got to plan that. all along again, I'm just thinking I'm in love, So he knew his family had a plan to move to Raleigh, North Carolina. He knew that he wanted me to go with him. He knew I would not have went with him if I was not pregnant. And so we went to Raleigh, North Carolina. When I tell you I was baffled by what I seen, went to Raleigh, North Carolina. His family was eating um, bologna sandwiches, and that's how they were going to survive until his stepdad received his first check, or etc., etc. And here I am with a sick baby. All I'm trying to figure out, okay, show me to the nearest hospital so that I can get my child set up on what she needed as she was a child, which is child of felon, and things would have started happening if I had not had the proper care for her. And so my husband, he's ignoring me. He's, treating me like a real bad husband. And that's when I saw the signs of control. And it took his younger brother to say to him one day, "That's your wife. Why are you talking to her and treating her that way?" Because I was simply, asking the man a question, and he lashed out at me. And the question was basically a simple question, because he wasn't working. So I was asking him, well, are you going to go work at the plant with your stepfather? Because you're my husband and that's your mom's husband. And I don't expect your mom's husband to take care of all of us, because it was his mom, his stepdad, me, him, and his little brother, and my daughter, my baby. And so I said, I'm not going to do that. And so he got angry. I guess he was frustrated because, he knew that, he would have had to take care of his family. And that was going to be a need that, we had. Long story short, I realized, well, did I marry the wrong brother? Because here it is, his little brother had more sense than him. Okay, everyone. So long story short, that didn't work. So I called my father. It got to the point where I don't know. I can't remember who had the change. You know how you have change in a big old water jar, like where you have people deliver water to your house, but they had a change jar filled with change. And that's what they were living out of until the father, the stepdad, got his first paycheck. And I'm saying, wow, these people plan to move south, which I don't blame them, out of the projects in New York. Raleigh, North Carolina was a good place to decide to go. And I'm not knocking their move. I'm knocking the fact that this man thought that that was going to be the move for me and him and our family at that time. He had no plan, but his parents at the time, his mother and stepfather, had a plan. But I'm sure his mom and stepdad didn't plan for him to have a baby and a wife come along with their plan. But again, we're talking about a narcissist, someone who just took the time and said, hey, I'm going to make this girl come with me, and this is how she's going to come, and this is what she's going to do. She's going to listen to me, and this, that, and the other. Well, I'm not a woman who's going to listen to a man, no matter how young or naive I was. So I called my father, and I told my dad, because I was kind of excited to move to Raleigh, North Carolina, because I felt like, I go down south every summer up until I was 12. Now I'm like 15, so I'm like, okay, I'm going down south. Raleigh, North Carolina, to this day is very nice. Okay, and so that wasn't a bad thing. It's just, he didn't have a plan for his family. So I called my dad and said, I need a ticket. So I told my husband, I said, I am going back to New York. And I said, you can either come with me or not. And I said, I have to look after my child. She has tetralogy of Fallot, heart disease, and I have to make sure that she's good. It's really not about you. But it was about him because I didn't like bologna. I'm used to eating steak, potatoes, and corn. My grandparents didn't even feed me a bologna sandwich. So I'm not finna sit here and live like this, and I don't have to. This man didn't have a plan for me. He just wanted to control me, and he wanted to downsize my mind and my way of thinking so that I can be with him and our sick child. So went back to New York. The whole time we got a bus ticket. So I don't know how he got it, but he ended up getting a bus ticket to go back to New York with me. So he came back to New York with me on the bus. I guess he wasn't gonna at that time. He wanted his family because the relationship was kind of fresh anyway. So I guess he said I'm not gonna lose her just yet. And the whole time we on the Greyhound bus, this man didn't even speak to me, and I'm with his child. I am his wife. We on the Greyhound bus. He did not sit by me. He did not speak to me or anything. And we are married, and we are young on the bus. Now, mind you, he's watching me the whole time. He's acting like a security guard, but he wasn't talking to me. He was protecting us from afar, but that's how a narcissist works. He not that mad to where he ain't gonna let people know we together. He just ain't talking to me. You see what I'm saying? So we get to New York. I was so happy to be back in my parents' care. My dad said when he saw me walk down the street, my dad happened to be in the yard, and something told him to go out the gate. So he saw me coming around the corner. My dad said I looked so poor that he just wanted to go in the house and start cooking. And I probably did look smaller than when he went, and I'm talking 3 weeks. I only stayed in Raleigh, North Carolina 3 weeks. So my dad immediately went in the house and literally started cooking. So I could see I couldn't see what my dad saw, but I definitely know I probably looked like I was hungry. And my dad had a talk with my husband, and at that point he said, well, my dad had a 3-stone brownstone in New York, and the third floor was vacant because my sister and her husband was occupying it, but they had moved. And so my dad said, well, you all came right on time because I'm going to give you the third floor to live as a family. Told me what he expected of me as a daughter, and told him what he expected of him as a man, caring for his daughter. So my husband went and got a job at the A&P grocery store. Okay, so he went to the A&P grocery store. I enrolled back into high school at Sarah J. Hill High School. Life resumed. The whole time again, this man is trying to get me away from my family. The traits of a narcissist. He knows I have a grounded family. He knows I'm a daddy's girl. He knows I'm going to rely on my dad. He already know I'm from suburbia. Like, why are you playing with me? Again, I'm not weak. I never was a weak woman. So he was losing on every end. Boom. Let me put another child in her. Mind you, I'm thinking the man loved me. I'm young. I didn't know it was a narcissist till I got older. So I'm having another baby. Still in high school, living the life. I'm in high school. So I see a young man sitting next to me in high school look just like my husband. So I said, this is impossible. How could a twin? I didn't know my husband had a twin. He never told me he had a twin. All I know is the family that he told me about. Long story short, everyone, there was another family. Remember I said his stepdad, well, his real father had a family. And I guess the genes was so, thank you for the likes. I guess the genes was so strong with his family that the real blood father, that he actually made a duplicate of my husband. And I happened to be in class sitting right next to him. And guess what? His father had the nerve to name the boy Donald Miles. So now he has two Donald Miles in the world. I said, there's no way your name is Donald Miles. I said, my husband at home name is Donald Miles. And you look just like him. So I said, I'm bringing my husband up here tomorrow to meet you because you both look just alike. Didn't know I was doing the worst thing my family could have ever had, introducing him to his real brother. This plot gets deeper. So my husband comes up to the school to meet his brother the next day. He's shocked as me. He said he looked just like me. I said he looked just like you, and his name is Donald Miles. Your name is Donald Miles. We have to get to the bottom of this. Mind you, his mother is living in North Carolina with her husband, her new husband. So she not worried about what's going on in New York. And neither us. So he's in New York now without parents. So he's happy to meet his real father that he's never met his whole life. And he's 18 right now, married with a child, got bills, responsibility. Heck yeah, he want to meet his real father. His family is in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's living with my family. He don't really like my family because my family has my dad got rules and goals and standards. So he don't like that because he ain't from that. So he wants to meet his dad. So get to the school. So he met his brother. His brother said, you coming home with me. So he took him to the house. Find out, and the plot gets thicker. His real biological father was married again. He never told his wife that he had kids before her son. So he made his wife think that her son was his only son in the world, and he was giving him his name as a junior for the first time. His wife didn't know that he had already a junior. This, my stepfather, my father-in-law, by my blood father-in-law, was a pimp in the projects and a drug dealer. Big time. I'm talking Nino Brown. Babies everywhere. So me introducing this man to his father, I opened a plot of worms. I'm surprised I'm still alive by the grace of God, because all his secrets came out in one introduction. Here I am, innocent. I'm in my class. I'm sitting next to the man look just like my husband. How was I supposed to know that he wasn't supposed to know? I'm innocent is all out, get out. I'm seeing a double. We got to get to the bottom of this. Come on down in the story. The blood father of my husband, like I said, Nino Brown action was going on in the projects and all the children with it. Not only did he have my husband as a child, he had about 6 or 7 kids. And all of them, his wife, did not know anything about. But guess what? The father knew his children, but his wife didn't know his children. And he met the second, which was the first Donald Miles, that she met the first Donald Miles that day. Okay. The wife knew her husband was Nino Brown out there in them streets. She was glad to be married to Nino Brown because she had that life, you feel me? So guess what? The job my husband had at A&P, he started working for Nino Brown, his father. Back to the streets he went. Narcissist husband comes home and tell me, well, I'm going to work for my dad now. Like his dad had a corporate office or something. You finna go in the street and sling, you know what? And you gonna come home and tell me like it's okay. Okay. So me, young and naive, again, I'm so in love. At this point, I have 2 children by the man. So it's like, okay, so the A&P grocery store check wasn't enough anymore. So now, who am I? I guess I'm the girl in the movie with Nino Brown that, hey, you feel me? I'm getting jewelry now. I'm getting the finer things in life. I'm getting cars. I'm getting all kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here the whole time disgusted, scared, because I got to tell my daddy. We live on the 3rd floor in my father's house. My father, this is not the road that my family is going. This is not going to be approved at all. I'm scared to death. So, one day God revealed everything. A Caucasian man knocked on our door. No one was home. I was in school. And everybody was out. But this Caucasian man knocked on the door. I guess he gave my dad the information that he needed. When everybody got home, my dad was at the door like a warden. Next thing I know, just, he comes upstairs, your dad said, etc., etc., etc. I said, yes, that's my dad. I said, and why would you put this family in danger? Now, this is New York, y'all. I said, why would you put my family in danger? I'm scared to death because I'm looking at all these stories of what happens, with these street people and how it comes back on their family and families get killed behind it and all this stuff. So I'm scared to death. So I'm like, why y'all ain't keep that downtown in the projects? Why somebody coming all the way over here in suburbia knocking on the door looking for you? That happened for real. And so I'm scared to death. So, I was so sad that I had to lie to my dad a little bit more because I'm trying to figure out, is I'm going to have a husband or I'm going to have somebody who just want to be in the street. Like, I'm young. I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get my high school diploma, be a wife and a mother. I'm confused. I'm trying to be honest to my dad, the one who really taking care of me in this marriage in the first place. Because you done went out here, you done met your father, and now you working for him out here in these streets. Like, this introduced to him to his dad was the worst thing that ever happened to my whole life and my family. I don't know if that is true to this day or not, because sometimes I think, God did good by getting rid of that man in my life, and so I can raise my kids without him. Because who knows what me and my kids would have been into had the decision was made to just leave that man alone. But before we get to that, we're talking about the narcissist husband, how people would actually plan your life out for you. Don't even tell you that they got a plan for you, but they planning for your life. Your life. So, y'all, this man said he going out of town. Okay, so he said he's going out of town. And I'm like, okay, you going out of town. Okay, cool. We going out of town. Going out of town happened a couple of times. I'm talking weeks at a time. Like I said, this family owns some Nino Brown stuff. You know, New Jack City. I'm going to keep it that to keep it polite. You know, I ain't going to tell all their business, but you get it. If you know the movie, you know. So they own some New Jack City Nino Brown stuff out of town. So something told me, okay, you need to take a trip out of town. So I told my parents, I said, I need y'all to watch my kids for just 2 days. And I'm going to get on this bus and I'm going to go out of town. I'm going to see what's going on out of town. Because I needed confirmation to see what's going on. Because, you know, if you know that lifestyle, ain't nobody saying nothing. They just dictating to you your life like a narcissist. And you supposed to be okay with it. But again, like I said, I'm never a woman that could be controlled. Never was as a child and never was as an adult. So I'm finna go see what I need to see because I got 2 kids at the house. I got to make sure we safe. Yet alone, I live in my parents' brownstone. To get to me and my family, you got to go through the first floor, which is where my family at, my mom and dad. And I wanted to make sure nothing was coming back to that house, okay? So I go to investigate what I need to investigate. So I get to where I went. Can't tell y'all locations and things like that, you know. Went to it. Now, mind you, I'm 51 years old. This is when I was a teenager, literally. So I get to where I'm going to get. Everybody, oh, his wife in town. This is wife. I'm calling. I'm like, yeah, I'm in town. I'm here. You know, I don't need to tell you I'm your wife. Why I got to tell you I'm coming? I'm your wife, right? So I'm like, I'm here. You know, get somebody to come roll up and get me, scoop me up and bring me where y'all at. Everybody running around. Like they like a ghost in town or something. Come to find out, this man got a whole nother life out of town. I'm trying to tell you, these street niggas, y'all better be careful with these street niggas, okay? I know my life is something else, and that's why I'm telling my story. This man had a whole nother life and girl out of town. And she knew who I was. She knew I was the wife. But they thought I would never come where they was out of town. I'm talking a whole nother town. A whole nother state over. They didn't think that I would come a whole nother state over. But see, he didn't know the type of woman he had. So everybody scrounging around. He done, I'm looking at, I'm peeping out everything they doing. I'm peeping out everything. They done moved the girl, moved her clothes, moved everything, you know, cleared the way so I couldn't see none of her stuff. She in the next door apartment. Again, we got Nino Brown and New Jack City going on, right? I got feds, whoever they is, detectives giving me cards, you know, asking me who I am and call them. And I mean, it was total chaos. Do you hear me? And I'm like, it's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't my world. What have I walked up on? He looking fool. He trying to make things like we in our house. He trying to. I said this is a whole home. I said this is a whole apartment setup. I mean, you live in here. You know. He was like, "What you doing here?" You know, this, that. I said, "You my husband. I don't need to explain to you why I'm coming to see what you doing or rolling up on what you doing." You know. And so that day he realized who I was. So I stayed to be nosy for 24 hours. And I got up out of there. And I got a la carte service. And mind you, I didn't stay in the apartment complex. They got me a 5-star hotel. And I stayed in the hotel and I got transported back and forth for the 2 days I was there. And I didn't stay there because, again, I'm very smart. Because when I had the detective hand me that card, asking me who was I, because I'm a new face, and everybody acting like they seen a ghost, I knew I didn't want to be around that situation. So I told him, get me a hotel. Got me a hotel a little further out, a little 5-star situation. Got me a driver, drive me back and forth so I could be nosy, see what's going on. And it shook him. It shook him. He didn't expect me to be where they were, in a whole nother state. Baby, let me tell you something. Regina Miller ain't no fool. Like I said, I had 2 kids at home. I knew my kids mattered. I had a sick baby and another. Come on. So I left. I peeped the whole situation out. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to cause a scene. I act like everything was smooth and lovely. Everything. I didn't say one word about the woman. I saw them moving out the bar. I saw everything. So I get back to New York, get in my situation, sliding back into my life. Just devastated by what I saw. Devastated by what I just witnessed. And the woman I am, I was just waiting till he came back home. He didn't come back with me. Again, narcissist. He did what he wanted to do. He did what he wanted to do, and he thought that was going to be okay. So when he finally got home, he said to me, he said, well, here's the thing. This is what he tells me. He says, well, here's the thing. This is my life. I'm not going to change it. You either in it or not. And I said, this is one question I remember asking him. I said, so what am I going to tell the children as far as where their father is? Like, you're not home. Like, he probably was home out of 30 days, maybe 7 days. And my daddy ain't no fool either. Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to always respect my dad. So this is why I made this decision, because I respected my parents more than this little jerk of a man who thought I was stupid as a woman. He told me, he said, you know how businessmen go on trips? He said, just tell them I'm on a business trip. I said, so you choosing this lifestyle over us? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm not going to change this lifestyle. And I said, so you go walk out that door and choose the world versus me and these kids? Because here's the thing, y'all. He realized that I wasn't a weak woman when I pulled up out of state. You understand what I'm saying? He realized I wasn't a weak woman when I left Raleigh, North Carolina, and said I'm going back home. He realized